Hi, Janicia. Hi, everybody. We are looking at 4:58 p.m. I was just going to give people a few more minutes before we begin the presentation.
Hi, Ashley. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Okay. It wasn't unmuting at first, but thank you so much.
Thank you. Okay, hi everybody. My name is Ashley Triplett. I am with the University of Louisville's Digital Transformation Center. And what we're going to go over today is just an introduction of some follow-up courses that we're going to be teaching later this fall with the LCCC. So today we're just going to go over Build-A-Bot website with Wix in particular, and we're also going to talk about chatbots, automation, and what that means whenever someone is trying to have entrepreneurial endeavors or they're trying to just create more marketing or outreach with their demographics. So I'm going to turn off my screen here so we can, and I'm going to share my screen. But if you have any questions, please put them in the chat bot. Additionally, if you can see, let's see, I'm going to go ahead and turn on closed captioning as well, just in case anybody might have hard hearing during this presentation. Okay.
I just wanted to jump in and welcome everybody as well. My name is Janicia C. I'm the Adult Services Manager at LCCC, and as Ashley stated, this is meant to serve as an introductory to what's to come at LCCC with offering these classes. I'll be in the chat just to probably give another introduction, but thank you all, and thank you, Ashley.
Thank you so much. Okay, so we are going to begin. All right. Let's see. So I'm just going to Google and I am going to go into Wix.com. Now, there are a lot of different websites out there that have free access. Jenny said, if you see somebody in the waiting room, do you mind letting them in?
Yes.
Thank you so much. We have a lot of free, there are a lot of websites out there that have free access. However, the reason why we like to use Wix is just because of the interface, how user-friendly it is, and then also the features that they offer with when you upgrade and you subscribe to an actual paid subscription service with Wix. So your first step is logging in. I have an account already with Wix. Let's see. Go ahead and log in myself, and please feel free to join me in this introduction. Just if you want to pull this up on your own computers. Let's see. Okay, good deal. And we are in. All right, so when you first log in, you will see a dashboard. We'll talk more about this later, but the dashboard is really important. The dashboard actually, while the website itself and designing the website, this gives you more features such as Google Analytics with data tracking, and it also gives you features such as creating automations and for you to embed different apps into your website. So we'll talk more about the desktop feature. But going into actually creating a site. So when you first get in here, you'll actually be prompted, if you haven't created a Wix website before, on what kind of template you're looking for. I don't have that because I already have my site built, but that'll be your first step, is that it'll give you different options on a template. And so you're going to want to decide before you build your website, what is your intention of the website, who is your customer, and that's going to help you navigate what template you create. So for instance, if I wanted to create a blog, there are template blogs out there. If I wanted to sell something online, there's e-commerce website templates out there. So just being intentional on that. So I'm going to just give you, in the later sessions, we'll go through a step-by-step on how to design a Wix website and some cool features that you can do into getting this to be as customizable as you need it to be in order to meet your marketing needs. But for today, I'm just going to do a basic overview of that, and this is still loading. But it's important to think through those things as we are moving forward with building your website. So let's see. This is mine. The concept of my website is a children's art store, and for us to, create art classes for children and to serve the community. So I chose a website that was going to allow me to have different functionalities, such as booking classes, for me to be able to put my information in. So geographical information as well, so people can contact me. Of course, some of these things are not completely built out, but being really intentional about these different strips because of the business that I wanted to create. So when you first look here, the interface that you're going to see is that, and let me also preface this with saying that Wix might have a different interface. So for instance, you'll see Wix up here, you'll see these tabs, but maybe depending on what device you're using. So if you're using an Apple product versus a Microsoft product, or any other, a mobile, for instance, then they might be positioned differently on the page, but they'll still be there. So going up to Wix, we have our sites, our settings, and then we'll talk more about this in the later courses, but we'll talk about actually embedding CEO analytics into page sites. And so what that does is, if you were to Google art classes in Louisville, then I could embed that key phrase into my website. So that way, when people Google that, my website would be one of the first websites to actually pop up. So that's a conversation. Adding icons into your website. So for you to be able to actually create your own logo and to add that into there. And then go on, business information, social share, all of these things actually take you to different virtual archives that gives you more resources and context to how to build out a website. Hire a partner. So if this was something that you were interested in and you wanted to have Wix consult you, you're more than welcome to do that. However, part of these trainings will be to be that consultant for you. So this will be a free service that we offer you all. But after the course is over, if you wanted to have a little bit more assistance, this is also a feature. Okay, so normally you would have a blank screen, okay? And then these grids right here, these will tell you what is going to be on your user's either desktop or mobile device, okay? So that is your parameters for whenever you're designing your website, where you want to make sure your images are at. Now, what's really important while you're going through this is being mindful of not only the desktop experience, but also the mobile experience. So for instance, if I took my logo and I wanted to move it over here to be to the right-hand corner, I really liked that look on my desktop. However, if I go to this icon to switch to mobile interface, then that's going to look a little bit different than what I originally anticipated for my desktop interface. So just being mindful of that while you're building out your website is something else that we'll go over the next few weeks. Now, this is something to be mindful and intentional about as well, because while we think about our users and the attention of our website and what our business is, it's important to know if users might be more inclined to use your business on a device, such as a mobile device, or on an actual computer desktop. What I mean by that is if you had a blog and your primary, point of sale was subscriptions to podcasts, then the people are more likely to look at mobile devices for that kind of experience than a desktop. So something to just think through before you start building out your website. So we won't go over these too much in depth, but this is something that we will go over in the additional trainings, is talking about strips and how you can customize them to be what you need them to be for your website. Headers, images, embedding buttons into this. So a button example would be if you were to shop, or let's say you have a social justice website and you want to embed to community links or resources, or maybe a PayPal account or a Venmo account in order to help pay for certain projects or activities. These are the opportunities that you have to embed into your website. Galleries, this would be recommended for social media accounts, connecting your social media accounts to your websites, and so on and so forth. Really getting into the design, the aesthetics of your website, and just being really creative here. This is the opportunities that you have. And then going back up to image, you can also incorporate videos. As you can see, you can add your own images that you curate. You can put in Wix free images, but then of course there are also stock images. And just being mindful that, this website at some point, they will ask you to upgrade. There will be a difference between free services on the website and then also upgrade services. So they'll probably have an image watermarked unless you upgrade to a paid subscription. Okay, gallery is also something, we went text. Text is really important as well as we think through this. So just being mindful that over the next few weeks, when we get more in depth into the building experience, we'll actually go over curating language and paragraphs and descriptions of your business and your website, because that's incredibly important content. We live in a very fast-paced world where we like to propose a 30-second pitch. If you were to be in an elevator with somebody for 30 seconds, you have 30 seconds to convince that person to come to your website to explore your services and your offerings. And if we do that through being very intentional with our fonts and the way that we prioritize our language. So we'll have a conversation regarding that as well. Okay. Up here over to the left-hand side, you'll see this little corner. And again, your interface might be a little bit different, but it should be somewhat similar. You'll see these quick links to your pages. So whenever you're working on your website, just to get a little bit familiar about the functionality of Wix, is that you would go down to, if I wanted to move over to my projects page, you see over here on my tabs, I have about, project, services, contacts, etc. Then I can quickly go to my pages just by clicking that. And even more importantly, I can go back home if I need to for whatever reason. So just before we begin, that will be an important feature for you all, and it'll also help assist you in navigating your website. Adding some other things on here is an anchor. So I'll just give you a quick description of what an anchor is. And again, we'll have a whole vocabulary lesson over these terminologies. But let's say hypothetically, you have a lot of content in your home page. So user will scroll all the way down. You can actually put an anchor in your website. So let's say you want people to be able to just quickly go back up to the website. You can put an anchor down in here, you click it, and then it'll take you all the way back automatically. So those are the features that we could talk more about to help your website to be a little bit more user-friendly. Okay, so menu and pages. So again, some features that we'll talk about is just tips and tricks of building a Wix website. So a perfect example I can give you tonight is just thinking about the user experience of your website. If you have on your homepage and you have projects are predominantly about you and about your services that you offer, you can create sub headers. So under abouts now, as you can see, I moved my project out of the way because it really wasn't needed. And so by doing this, if I go to preview and I go to about, now we have projects hovering under our about because that was the relevant content for our about information. So those are things that we'll talk through during the training sessions, just some features that you would want to be intentional with whenever you are designing your website. I'm going to put that project back, and as you can see, there it is. Okay, so booking pages, this was relevant for me because I wanted people to be able to book out services in my business. And so this is something to be mindful of. Again, why over the next few weeks to think about what you really want to design and to kind of come to the table with that so that way you can just hit the ground running while we begin building out your website. Theme manager, this is going back to that design. Something that we'll talk about is design. If we are creating, let's say that you have a local restaurant and maybe you're not, you don't have a physical, building establishment yet, but however, you are taking reservations for catering or for party, events, then maybe you would want to have warmer colors, colors that make us feel hungry. The reason why McDonald's is yellow and red is intentional because when we see those colors, we feel hungry. And the reason why people paint their kitchen blue is intentional because cooler colors make us less hungry. So thinking about these things in Theme Manager are really important as you navigate what kind of website you want to build. Background. So these are things as well. I mentioned that Wix comes with a lot of free services, and this is one of the things that I was talking about, the reason why we love Wix so much. These were just some of the images I uploaded, but it comes with a lot of free options. So media from Wix, we can actually embed cool videos into our strips. We can have different kind of features. We can have people looking at us, and this can just be a small little video that we incorporate. I'll go ahead and change my background on this just so you can see what this looks like as an example. So if I go to preview, and while my user is scrolling down, look how lovely that is. So again, Wix offers these features to us for free, and it's a way for us to build onto our ideas with a small capital, especially as you are beginning your business or any of your entrepreneurial endeavors. Okay. So now I am Wix App Market. So I mentioned that you can embed apps. So something with automation we'll talk more about is that, and also with app development, is that you can actually incorporate apps into your website that have meaning. So for instance, if your business is predominantly Spanish speaking, however, your demographic is predominantly English speaking, then you can embed a app that would help translate languages, as you can see here, into your website. And then however, there's other things that could be translated in here. Wix booking is an example, Wix events, things like that to help you. And of course, some of them are free. Some of them, as you can see, Wix booking is already installed in mine because that made sense for the context. And these are free services that Wix offers to you to help get your business growing. Okay. Media, again, if someone was to create their own, or if they wanted to upload or link their own personal social media accounts, this is where that opportunity is. Start blogging, so you can actually incorporate your own blogging access to your website. Again, with CEO, search engine optimization within Google Analytics, keywords, the more that we put in a keyword, the more likely it is to be flagged when that word is searched, especially if you pay for it, if you pay for a word to be identified. So that will be something that's important for us to go over as well over the next few weeks. Bookings, and then business tools. So this actually is going back to our dashboard. So if I was to, I'm just going to go back to my home page and going back over to my dashboard. So I mentioned earlier that this was important. The reason why is because while the website could be designed that we were talking about, this is actually where you get your tangible information. So this is where you get your analytics reports, your website traffics. This is where you can set up your automation for your clients, for your customers. And this is also where you can embed features such as chatbots, which we will build over the next few weeks. And so I know Build a Bot, the context behind that is that I'll show you all how to actually build a chatbot. That's what that phrase means, into your website for your clients or your users to come and ask questions. And so we'll talk about that. So for today, though, I'll show you CRM tools. So essentially CRM tools, it's computer relationship manager. And what that means is automation. That means that we are teaching computers the pathway that we want them to respond to our customers. And so why this is so important, especially for startups, is because it helps with funding. Whenever we have automation in place within our businesses, we don't need somebody on a computer for customer service like we did before. We can actually program our automation to know to anticipate questions and to know how to respond to those questions based off of our users' needs. So and a chatbot would be a perfect example of automation. So let me give you an example. Let's say your goal in your website is e-commerce for somebody to book a class, or maybe it is for you to sell an item. And so if that happens, then your automation would already be flagged to send them an email or send them a chatbot, question, or not question, but a chatbot response. And that response would be, thank you so much for your interest, and we look forward to seeing you on such and such date. So again, automation is really great, and this is how you can create automations, and we'll go into this more. But essentially, it means that you're triggering your computer to respond in a certain way based off of how your client responds to your website. Okay. So marketing and CEO, marketing is really important. Even in this course, we'll have an introduction to a little bit of marketing, some requirements on what you'll need, because we'll have to talk about Google Analytics, CEO tools, and how you can utilize these tools to make informed decisions about your users. So that will be a conversation as well. And then, of course, we will talk about email marketing, what that means, and then social media, that's really important, as well as we try to create our brands, and then we want to add our apps into the system too. So apps, this is another feature to manage apps. If you were to go in here and you wanted to, a chat bot, we'll talk more about this. There's multiple ways to incorporate the chat bot into your website. Either you can embed it into your account, or you can actually install the app into your website, and then you can control the app through your dashboard. So let's see, I'm just going to stimulate a visitor, right? So if we will actually, in the course, we'll be creating our chatbot through Tidio. That is who we have here. They are a great free resource, and we'll talk more about that as we move on through the next few weeks. But what happens essentially is you start a pathway. So if I was to add from scratch, right? So this is where I would choose triggers in order to get my chatbot to respond. So hypothetically, I would say hours as a trigger. So if my chatbot, my automation reads the word hours, what they're going to suggest is that means that someone's asking questions about my business hours. So it would automatically populate the hours of my business, and that's what that means. We'll go over. So the U of L DTC, I mentioned that I work with U of L on the digital transformation website. We're going to go over the digital transformation website and navigate some of our free resources that we offer to community members. And one of those would be Google Analytics. So through this, we will actually go through Google Analytics for beginners. And this is where you can create your CEO code. And you will be able to take your code, come back to your your dashboard. And this is where you would incorporate that code into the marketing and CEO tools. And you'll have your Google account where you can go and actually on your Google dashboard, we'll teach you how to navigate and how to read it, more importantly, where you can go in and you can actually see how your users are responding to your Wix website. Okay, so this is, again, just an overview of Wix and Build-A-Bot automation. We'll talk about the vocabulary of this. We'll talk about marketing and SEOs again, and we'll talk about some of the design features on Wix. So I'll go ahead and stop sharing my screen. We do have time for questions, and so I would like and open the floor to anybody that has any questions at this time about what we will be exploring over the next few weeks, or maybe any questions that I wasn't able to give more in-depth knowledge on. And your website might be, your mic might be muted. So if you do have a question, please just raise your hand or put it in the chat. Okay, Janicia, do you have any questions or any things that you would like to share for everyone today?
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, no, I just wanted to follow up and just see if others had questions, and hopefully provide a little bit more context on what we're going to be doing for the series. I don't know if you just want to go into talking a little bit more about how this will be beneficial to like entrepreneurs or anyone else just within any other field if there's no other questions.
Yes, absolutely. So this, again, there are a lot of free website builders out there, but Wix offers a wide variety of free resources and opportunities for startup entrepreneurs specifically. With limited capital, you can actually, and the subscriptions really, if you wanted to expand on that, they're really economically friendly. I mentioned and I showed a little bit about the features that they had on the website, but why this is important is that you can begin your business on a small capital startup, but then also you can get valuable information about your users electronically. So we all know that we live in a digital age, but it's becoming more increasingly so, especially after the pandemic, and people are online. And so having that valuable demographic data is, we cannot express enough how valuable that is if we're trying to understand our populations, because in order to, incentivize them to come to us or to purchase our things, or to be a part of our conversation, we have to really have outreach, because there's and not only just outreach, intentional outreach, because there's so much noise out into the ether these days, that we have to be really, I mentioned that 30-second elevator pitch. We have to be very intentional and quick with how we're going to capitalize off of that moment with our population. So we'll talk about that, and again, the vocabulary, entrepreneurial, and the website development, but that's really why we wanted to focus on Wix in particular.
Thank you.
Okay, and I think, yeah, let's see. You all, I believe you might be able to unmute yourself. Please, save all pages. Yes, so Wix automatically saves the pages you create. As you saw, whenever I made changes, I went back and rechanged it, because it will save. So let's say that you were just working on something and your computer crashes, or maybe you're running late, you didn't realize the time and you had to go. It'll automatically save any changes without you having to save it yourself. And here, let me just go back. When you log into Wix and you go back to that main dashboard right here, this will be your first interface on the page. Then you will go, your dashboard, and then you'll go back to my site. And so one, in theory, can have multiple sites, but just putting this out there that is where you can edit your site and will save changes. Okay, let's see. Okay, so are there any other questions, or maybe some suggestions on things that you all would be interested in learning more about over the next few weeks? Okay, let's see. Okay,
yes, I would like to learn how to set my pictures up where my website can be interactive and people can order off of it.
Okay, that's the problem. Okay, not a problem. So I mentioned that there's Wix videos and images that you can have for free, but then of course, if you already have an idea of the business that you want to create, or the community resource that you want to create, or whatever your intention is, if you want to come whenever we begin these training sessions and over the next few weeks, go ahead and start curating that material, taking pictures, creating videos, whatever you would like to do, please feel free. However, Wix does come with a large content, a large library of material.
Okay, thank you. You got the link to where those materials are. I just have to go look on YouTube.
Yes, so No, that's a great question. Actually, yes, can actually add in YouTube videos. So thank you for that. That is something that can happen. We can embed YouTube videos. But yes, I will walk you all through the step-by-step process of incorporating that kind of material into your website.
Okay, thank you.
Oh, I like that music. I see someone's typing. Oh, okay, that's a great question. If your uploads will become a part of Wix Gallery, no. You did see some of my images, but that was because I was showing you my actual Wix page. But no, it will not become a part of the public archive. Those are some great questions. Okay, is there any other, maybe some other things that you all would like to dive in that, to go ahead and put that on the table, or maybe some other questions from our introductory webinar from today?
So will this webinar be weekly or just is the one-time deal?
So tonight, so let me talk a little bit about that. Tonight is just an introduction of what I'm going to be teaching over in the fall semester. So we'll have, and Janicia and I are still working out the details on this, but from our understanding at this time is that it'll be twice a week for 4 weeks, either in September or in October. So you'll come to that training, and then and within those hour blocks, I'll go more in depth over a step-by-step process of actually building out your website, about incorporating Google Analytics and website trackers, and about building automation within your website, such as building a chatbot.
And we'll send out some additional information for the classes when they begin to start up. So if you come today, then there'll be, like I said, additional information sent out. So you'll have the option to join for those classes once they get started.
How much will the classes cost? Or will they be free all the way through?
So these classes will be offered for free with our partnership with the University of Louisville and our organization, Louisville Central Community Center. So they're free of cost for you all to go through.
And to answer the question, the chatbot.
Okay, thank you.
Sorry, thank you. To answer the question in the chatbot, these recordings will be available. I believe so. Janicia, if you want to speak on LCCCs, and because after tonight, LCCC will actually be the ones creating the links. So Janicia will have access to all of those. And as for tonight's recording, yes, I can send that over to Janicia to give out to whomever has interest.
Yeah, so same here. They will be available even during the classes. Normally when we do our trainings, we send out recordings and any other information that might be presented to all of the attendees. So that will be available.
Okay, well, again, if there are any questions, I can also give Janicia my contact information if there's follow-up questions from tonight, or if there's any other thoughts on what kind of material that you all would like to explore over these training courses. But other than that, I appreciate your time, and I'm really looking forward to working with you all.
Thank you so much, Ashley, and thank you everyone for joining this evening. There will be additional information sent out, so thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Well, I hope you all have a great evening, and I will see you all later. Bye.
Bye, Ashley. Thank you.